What's up, guys? Episode 10 T period. We are back after a long break. After the vacation that I had, I was out for a vacation for. I had a good flow going. First of all, I had a very good flow going with these episodes. But then I went for this vacation. Was supposed to be like a work slash vacation, but turned out to be a very vacation heavy vacation, right? So I had this big 10-day gap in between. Took another week just to get out of that frame of mind, right? And I was supposed to start these episodes. My worst case was that I was going to start these episodes back right after I came back from that vacation. So first 10 days of May I'm out. 11th I come back. 10th I come back. 11th I was supposed to take a day off just for myself, decompress, get back in the zone. 12th I was supposed to come back, get back to it, right? Put the episodes out. Was having that good flow. Was feeling good about. Was in through that within that good flow of churning out these episodes. I had a great feeling about my work and everything. Went on the vacation, came back. The flow broke down, and suddenly I hit the worst the worst phase of uh, just like believe in my own work and just having a really tough time. So yeah, but it is what it is, small phases, waves and such. So the last 7 days were just very here and there, you know. So no episodes, didn't put out any episodes, but we are back anyway. 10th episode. I feel good. I feel really great that I've reached the number 10 with this, right? That just means that I've been at it for 10 episodes and a little bit, few more episodes before that. But since I started this particular series, um, I'm on the 10th episode, and that feels great. That's why this episode is going to be very personal. It's about the dirty shake. This shake I have been having. This is my own creation, and it's nothing new. It's not about the recipe as such. It's not This video is not a recipe video, because you some of you guys might realize that this shake is just like a small variation of what you must be having. It's not so much about the shake as much as it is about the anecdotes that I'm about to give you guys, as it relates to how you want to approach your eating and how I usually approach my eating, right? So this is episode 10. We're doing dirty shakes and all of its different levels for any kind of day that you are having, right? Let's talk about it. This episode is the anatomy. I'm going to give you guys the entire anatomy. I'm going to strip the shake down to its bare essentials, and then I'm going to explain to you guys how I build it back up. Right? It's not going to be that long of a video. We're talking like a 20-minute episode here, and so anatomy and different animations of my go-to milkshake and some useful meal planning advice. Right? That's what this episode is about. Through this conversation, our main objective is to talk about a few anecdotal pieces of advice in terms of, as it relates to how you should be looking at how I look at it. It then completely depends on you how you want to look at your own eating. But this is just me sharing anecdotes of how I try to approach my eating, right? So before we get to that, have a look at my lunch, right? I'll give you guys a quick quick a different anecdote, a different. Let's change the beat for the change the pulse for a. I'm just searching for words here. So yeah, let's change the pulse of the episode for a bit here, and let me talk about my lunch really quickly. So this is what I prepared yesterday. I had like 100, and I'm one good thing that's come out of coming back from the vacation is that I have started preparing my own food, a lot of my own food, right? And I'm in a good space with that. I've been at it like for the last 6 7 days. I've done so many different recipes. So let's talk about what my lunch was, and let's talk about what my approach with these big meals are: lunch, breakfast, dinner, right? So what I have on here, as you can see, as you must have already read, is that it's 100 to 150 grams of chicken, a chunky portion of tossed broccoli, bell peppers, boiled egg, sweet potatoes and everything topped with diced mushroom and garlic sauce, and there's some bread in there. I don't know if I've written it down. So that's multigrain bread. I just try to do the best that I can with bread. I know that those white processed globs of bread. This bread is obviously going to be much better than that. I'm not really still my nutritional advice, my nutritional knowledge base is just not at a point that's similar to my nutrition knowledge base as it comes to exercise training, right? Exercise science and all that. because so I do not really feel confident about talking about what is like a good source of carb and which bread is good and which is not. Or the big question is eating bread good at all or not, right? Consuming these wheat, gluten products, but do not know about anything regarding that. Do not know as much as I should know if I was to, peddle out some advice. But what I can tell you guys is that you just have to do the best that you can, right? Get the best type of bread that you can. Get the one that's a little bit less processed, that's made with a little bit better ingredients. That's and that's just kind of the approach that I have with my breads right now. So there's a couple of slices of bread on there, and all in all, this is like a good, scrumptious, might I say, meal. And so what's my ideology? What's my basic approach when I look at my big three meals? It's very simple. It's the same thing that I am trying to do for myself, right? Knowing what you're supposed to do and actually doing it are two completely different things. I know what I'm supposed to do, and doing it is a completely different story. But off late, I've been trying my best, doing my best. Yeah. So um, my approach with these big meals, you gotta have a little bit of everything in there, right? Look at your plate. Is there a good carbohydrate source in there? Are we looking at some complex carbohydrates? Are we looking at some simple carbohydrates? Are we, so okay, let's not get that deep into it right now. I'll just give you the outline first. So when you look at a plate, you gotta have everything in there. What do we mean by everything? We gotta have a portion of carbohydrates, we gotta have a portion of fats, and we gotta have a portion of protein. Right? Or like off the top of my head, those are like the big three main micronutrient categories, right? Then you gotta have some vegetables, you need your fibers and everything. Green vegetables, right? So you gotta have the two things that I like to keep in mind whenever I try to prepare meals for myself is number one, I need a little bit of everything there. I need some protein on that plate. I actually need a lot of protein on that plate because we're always running short, short on protein with the kind of Indian diet that we usually have. There's always a shortage of protein and there's always an excess of carbs, and fats just completely depend on what you're doing with your food, right? So Indian diets, very carb heavy diets, we are always going to be in a shortage of protein. So that portion of protein on your plate has got to be like that portion of protein on my plate has got to be a big portion of protein, right? Because I want want the majority of my protein coming from food, and I have three opportunities to eat like big portions of food, right? Which is going to be my lunch, breakfast, dinner. So I want a big portion of protein in there. I want carbs in there, and I want, I'm going to cook all of this in good fats. I'm going to use some ghee. I'm going to use cold pressed oils, and I'll make sure I'm not using some of those, highly saturated fatty acid rich, vegetable oils and your hot pressed oils, seed oils, and all of those things. So canola oils and whatnot. So just try to use better oils. Improve your knowledge base about what are some good cooking oils. Cooking fats basically. Let's broaden the category. What are some good cooking fats, and use those. Do the best that you can there as well. That's where the majority of your fat is going to be coming from. So if there's some animal protein on my plate, then it's definitely going to be accompanied by some fats. So I just got to take care of my carb source. I got to take care of my protein source and fats. I just got to make good decisions, right? Make good decisions with the fat. Like I could have just as easily had a slice of cheese in there, but instead of that, I know if I have my egg, if I have my chicken, there's going to be some fats coming in from there, and I've cooked all of this in ghee, so that's there. And when I know I have a good bunch of fats coming in with through those things, I do not really do I really need that extra layer of cheese on there? I really don't. Try to avoid processed food as much as possible. It's just really simple things. As far as it's definitely not rocket science. Nutrition, just taking care of your nutrition in an effective way is definitely not rocket science. So that's my approach with meals. I tell myself two things. First of all, I gotta have, is what I said, I gotta have all three macronutrients in there. Second thing, I want to create as much variation as possible. I want to ensure that there's a huge variety of things happening. So just as an example, um, I could have just as well done like a big breast of chicken in there, so like 250 grams, half a kilo. half a kg of chicken in there, breads, cheese, and all of those things, right? Everything sorted. Got my fats, got my proteins, got my carbs. But you know, I ended up making the better choice. I ended up, I thought back to what are my two protocols. First of all, I want everything in there. All right, that's good. If that was the only protocol, I could have just as well done with like a chicken burger, right? Which has everything in there. Which on paper you've got fats coming in, you've got carbohydrates coming in, you've got your protein coming in. So chicken burger should do, right. But that's why I have that second protocol and that third protocol actually, which are that number two will be I want to create as much variety on the plate as I can. If I'm getting my protein, if I can get that protein from two different sources within that same plate, I want to do that, right? If I can't, that's fine as well. But I want to create as much variation as I can. If I can get my carbs from my veggies and my breads, then I'm going to do that, and my potatoes, then I'm going to do that, right? A little bit of everything. Why? Because my second protocol with approaching these big meal plates is that I want variation in there, right? I want these three. First of all, I want all my three macronutrients coming in. Second, I want them coming from, if possible, I want them coming from a variety of sources. And the third and the most important protocol is going to be just do the best that you can. Go for the better options, go for the healthier options, make the better choices. Just do the best that you can with everything. On theory, a chicken burger and this piece of plate, I'm sure they're pretty much, somewhere close to each other as far as the macros are concerned. You're going to see a good amount of fats, carbs, and proteins for a chicken burger and chicken cheeseburger, and you are going to see a good amount of fats, carbs, and your proteins for this food plate. So, three protocols have all your macronutrients in there. Make sure they are coming from a variety of things if you can. And number three, just do the best that you can. So that was my lunch, and that's my approach with eating. Let's get to the main meat and bones of this episode, and that's my protein shake recipe and my philosophy. I'm really excited for this. So, all right. So, why does it deserve an entire episode? Yeah, that's what I was just talking about, right? That this is not just a recipe video. This is not just a video where I give you the recipe of my shake. I give you the macronutrients, and we're done. Actually, this video does not. I do not give you my macronutrients of this shake at all. I'm not doing that, right? I'm not giving you the numbers, the breakdown, nutritional content of the shake. That doesn't matter in this episode. This episode, although it's called dirty shakes and it's kind of about my protein shake, but more than that, it's about some important pieces of anecdotal nutrition insights, let's say. So this this shake deserves an entire episode, because I'm going to talk to you guys, first of all, yes, about the anatomy and layers of the shake. I'm going to talk to you guys about how to add or remove those layers and when you should be doing that, right? So we'll make it adaptive in nature. Not just giving you a recipe that, then if I just give you a recipe again, it's a specific answer, right? If I give you a recipe, then you can only you the only choice, the only use case that you have with that recipe is that either you decide to make that recipe or you do not decide to make that recipe. I've not told you anything about when is this shake, good to have and all of those things. No, I just gave you a recipe. So, and I gave you like the nutritional breakdown. So I'm not giving you a specific answer here, but I'll tell you how to strip this shake down to its bare essentials, or how to build it back up to its, more thicker and more carb rich layers depending on the kind of the day that you're having. And in doing so, we'll talk about how you want to approach your eating depending on the, kind of like the demands that you're placing on your body, and all in all, how to plan your meals. All right, so these are the layers of my dirty shake. We've got the essentials layer, we've got the carbohydrates, the important carbohydrate selections, we've got the layer where we put in things, I call this the taste modulation layer. And then, for those kind of days, for days when the demand is just high, and we'll talk about what those days are, this is that, I, I want to say that layer of abundance, right? That extra rich layer. Okay. So let's look at. I'm going to quickly connect my laptop to my charger. This is like a low budget setup here, right? Humble beginnings with this channel. So give me 2 minutes. I'll keep talking and I'll quickly shift places. Get my charger. Just all right, and we are back. Quick technical maintenance break. It's a one-person operation here for this podcast, for this YouTube channel, and for my whole operation. So yeah, let's talk about the dirty shake now. Mm, yeah. All right. Where do I place myself in a way that everything is visible? I think right here works. This is a good spot. All right. All right. So we are talking about the four layers of this dirty shake. Number one, we have the essentials. So essentials. This is just these are the options. These are the basically the ingredients that go in the shake for sure. What do we need for sure, right? It's a protein shake, so there has to be whey in it. I mean, that just goes without saying. That's where the main chunk of our protein is coming from. Just a quick reminder, all of this is going to make sense. You can't. All right, we'll just talk about when and what makes sense later on. Let's talk about the layers of the shake. So in the essentials layers, I've got water, I've got whey, I've got milk, and this is going to be your basic protein shake that everybody has. Then we have the carbohydrates layer where I usually, I do a mixture of all three of these. Initially, it just used to be sattu and it used to be banana. I've put down sattu in the carbohydrate layer because there's a lot of complex carbs in sattu. What the hell is sattu? Sattu is this ground mixture of um, some kind of roasted chana. I'm not really sure. Some people have told me that it's horse food. It's what they feed horses. You just roast that thing and um, you know, you grind it into a powder. That's what sattu is. There's sattu atta as well, which is basically you make. I guess you make chapatis with that. I have no idea. And I never had that really. But yeah, so sattu powder. My parents introduced me to this. Back in the day in my childhood, I remember we used to do this milkshake or milkshake where we had sattu in the milk. We had milk and we had some, I guess, turmeric in there along with some sort of a sweetener. I'm guessing jaggery or some kind of a sweetener like that, natural sweetener like that. Might have been sugar as well. So I remember that I used to have this drink, right? I had faint memories of this. So after growing up, started training and everything, you get introduced to what protein shakes are. Some of us like to do protein shakes in water, some of us like to do whey with milk. So that's where I was at. And of course, knowingly or unknowingly, we have that second layer of carbs as well. So I used to do banana a lot. So for me, a protein shake would be banana, and it would be either water, or if it's banana, then I'm definitely doing it with milk, right? So for me, the definition of a protein shake was just basically either you do protein in water or you do whey protein, milk, and banana, some sort of a fruit, right? That's what a protein shake was. But then I got introduced to sattu through my parents, my dad, my mom. Dad started having this, and I guess I was in college a few years ago when I realized, when I looked up what sattu was, and it kind of blew my mind. Like if I go on Healthify Me right now, I'll give you guys the stats of, I'll give you guys like the nutritional breakdown of what sattu contains as like a food, right? That's what it is. So, like if I look up, or I'm on Healthify Me, if I search for sattu, and I usually do like a scoop of sattu in my drinks. Sorry, yeah, let's say a scoop of sattu in my drinks if I want it to be heavy. So a scoop is usually, let's say 30 grams. I want to say 30 grams, not more than that. So 30 grams of sattu is going to give you like 8 grams of protein. There's 7.8 grams of protein in there. There's 1.5 grams of fat, and there's like 18.6 grams of carbs, right? And is since and that all of those carbohydrates are coming from your chana, that black chana that's been ground up, and that's quite literally horse food. I do not want to say that horse food is, if you eat horse food you're going to become powerful, and I do not want to create correlations like that, but it's just something to think about, right? It's just something to think about. So sattu is a was a mind-blowing addition to my shakes, and it took my shakes to another level. On a nutritional level, it made sense. It had a great macronutrient proportion, good amount of complex carbs in there, good amount of protein in there, like for the amount that we're consuming. In a 30-gram total mixture, you're getting 8 grams of protein. That's insane, right? That's a lot. That's just as an example that those macronutrients are much better than paneer. They're much better than soya chunks. They're much better than tofu, right? So I would place it, just became this very important, and on a different level, it gave the shakes this grainy effect, right? It gave the shakes this grainy effect that was like really important to me. Like a cold milkshake that's thick and grainy. For people that love milkshakes, that's obviously me. That's why I made an entire episode for it, and that's why I decided to do it for my 10th episode. It's that special to me. And if you ask anybody that knows me well, I'm a fan of milkshakes. I do milkshakes a lot, right? Especially chocolate milkshakes. So, and especially banana milkshakes, chocolate banana milkshakes, and all of these different milkshakes. So yeah, uh, it just took my shake to another level, right? I really started enjoying my shakes to a point. This, I guess, this is what was like the singularity event for the evolution of my protein shakes. Because after this, the experimenting has never stopped, and that is why we are at a point where we're doing this episode about it, right? So yeah, so I was doing whey, I was doing water, I was doing banana, and then as taste modulation, I would sometimes put some cocoa in there, and usually there was a little bit of peanut butter in there, which later on I just realized that it just doesn't need to be there every single day, right? It's just this extra layer. So, but back then I did not have the system of layering my shake. So, that's what I was doing. I was doing whey, I was doing milk, I was doing it with banana, put some sattu in there, lots of protein. And then sometimes lots of times I would put peanut butter in there. It was still a standard protein shake, but just because I had sattu in there, the macronutrients were great and the taste was even better. And it fed my creativity in terms of experimenting with this shake a lot. So Chiku is a new addition, right? This shake, Chiku, is not actually my selection. It's what's been recommended to me by a lot of my clients. So of course I usually recommend whatever I do to my clients as well. So when talking to the guys about how I do my protein shakes, they started doing experimenting with their shakes as well, and some of them gave me the feedback that Chiku is actually, if you are, again, if you're a milkshake fan and if you're looking for that grainy, fiber-rich effect to your shakes, Chiku is another great addition, and it's very sweet. It's a sweet fruit, so it just takes that taste of the shake to another level. So Chiku, that's why I put down Chiku in there. Chiku is a special mention. So yeah, that's why it's in the second layer of carbs. After you do the essentials, right, you gotta have your whey protein, you gotta have either your water or your milk in there. After that, what do we do after that? We think about the carbohydrates. What carbohydrates are we putting in there, right? It's a dirty shake. You want the shake to have a little bit of everything. So what carbohydrates are going in there? Sattu is what I found along the way. Banana is what I had always been doing, and Chico is what has been recommended to me. I still haven't tried Chico like that. I think I've done it once or twice. I'm just so attached to the banana version of the shake, right? To choosing that in the carbohydrate layer. But I am planning to do some things with Chico as well right now. Add Chico in there, experiment. Keep an open mind, because Sattu, I had this initial thing with Sattu where, I really didn't want to hear about it at all, right? That happens sometimes when you're interacting with your parents. You just do not want the advice that they're giving you, and later on you're going to realize that it's good advice. That happens. You got to accept that. Sometimes that happens. Not every single time, but sometimes there's benefits to seeing more years than somebody else. There's things that you get from that. So sattu, great addition to it, right? Um, that's your carbohydrate layers. After that, after experimenting with a bunch of things, I have created the taste modulation layer. These are things that I'm going to put in there that is going to, just as a means of changing the taste up a little bit for me. I've put down shilajit in there because lately I've started consuming shilajit. It's been great. The only thing I can tell you about Shirajit, you can reach out to me and we can talk about this, but the only thing I can tell you about Shirajit is that do not think of Shirajit as that over the counter kind of a, cheap, dick supplementation. I don't know, it's your sex supplement from your sex supplement counter section of a medical shop. That's not those pills are not the Shilajit that I'm talking about. You got to source your Shilajit from a good natural source supplier, the supplier that gets it from a legit source, and you again just do the best that you can with the sourcing, right? So if you are sourcing your chili from a great place, this is a great addition to your diet. This thing, this is a great addition to your overall eating habits. The kind of it's just a piece of earth, right? It's a piece of earth. The amount of minerals and the amount of nutrients and vitamins that it has is just off the charts. The amount of good things that it does for your body, you feel the effects almost immediately. It's a profound thing that you could have in your nutrition. Again, it's no magic supplement. It's You can't be leading an overall bad lifestyle, making poor nutrition choices, and just double dosing, mega dosing shilajit and just hoping for the best. Doesn't work like that. This is contextual to you nailing everything else, you doing the best that you can in every other aspect and area of your approach with your nutrition and training and lifestyle. That's if all of that is sorted and then you're doing shilajit, then you're adding shilajit, it's a great addition, right? So shilajit is in there. It gives, for me personally, um, salt in anything is going to enhance the taste, right? So things like coffee, shilajit, salt, these things give my drinks that poppy. It just enhances the sweetness of the drink, is what I'm trying to say. So I like if I'm having a grainy shake and then I put shilajit in there, which is like the product that I have is like this tar-like substance and it's thick and it's already grainy, very grainy. Along with the shake and along with it tastes bad. Shilajit is going to taste. It's going to taste like cow dung. That's all it tastes like. I don't know, something that comes out of a stable, right? But it has a very herd animal like smell. So, um, but anyway, it enhances all of these things for me. Enhances and modulates the taste of the drink. Put cocoa in there, just to give it that cocoa effect again. You could do bad cocoa and you could do good cocoa. Bad cocoa, I've stopped doing that, like over the counter, those 10 rupee, 20 rupee sachets. It's just not that great. And I've realized some of the things that they put in there, you're just never sure of what's happening in that case. So, do the best that you can with sourcing your food, right? That's just the advice that I can give you. So this is my taste modulation layer. And after that, I have a layer of abundance for those kind of days. What kind of days are we talking about? We're talking about days that are just physically exhausting. Let's say you've got a football tournament, you've got a sports thing event, you're out for this hike, right? You're coming after you've had a physically strenuous day, not just like a mentally, like I've been standing in that line for the whole day kind of a day, like a proper physically strenuous day, like you're leading an athletic, fit, active lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, and you just happen to have a day where the physical demand was just too much, right? One of those days. That's when you can, that's when it calls for this layer of abundance. That's when you can do dry fruits in there. That's when you can do peanut butter in there. Do the best that you can with your peanut butter sourcing. But yeah, that's when you can do your ice creams in there. When you can, put a piece of brownie in there. It just crumbles and makes the shake that much more grainy. So yeah, that's the final layer. Those kind of days. My point being, this shake. Okay, where are we? This shake, depending on the kind of day that you're having, you can strip it down to its bare essentials and it's still going to be a really good protein shake. And you can build it back up. So you guys can like screenshot this right here, right? And you can build it back up to basically meet any kind of demand nutritional carbohydrate demand that you're having, right? These are all options. These are the layers. I think it makes sense. It's pretty self-explanatory what we're doing here. I'm not giving you guys like the macros and anything with this because there are just so many combinations you can do with this. Just like as an example, I told you guys what I do with water, whey milk, and banana. Then instead of banana, you can put in chiku, and sometimes you can do sattu without banana, and chiku you can do sattu with banana. There's just one shake, 4 layers, 12, 13. Way is kind of important, so that's like a non-negotiable. But apart from that there are like 13 components to the shake, and there are 4 layers that you can think about. So just think about the combinations and permutations with that, right? So if I was to give out like you know the macronutrient breakdown or the nutritional content of all of this, it would not make sense. It would be just too much information. It would be too much specific information. But I think what I've done here is pretty good enough. I've given you guys the different layers. I've given you guys some options that I work with. Again, you can experiment with it, right? I've just given you guys the gist of the whole thing. You can come up with your milk variations, you can do your whey variations, you can do your protein, right? That variation in the carb layer. Maybe you can think of other carbohydrate sources, other fiber sources, other fruit sources that you can that you would want to put in there. You can think about, depending on the kind of flavor or way that you're having, this can be a completely different thing. You could have completely different options in these layers, but always have your 4 layers set. Make note of what is going to be essential for your protein shake, what is going to be the carbohydrates that you can do or do not do, what are you doing for your taste modulation, and what are you doing for those kind of days, what you can add for those kind of days, right? And so yeah, this is what you do. You can strip the shake down to its bare essentials, and you can build it back up to a really heavy shake. I think at its best, the amount of calories that I've had with a dirty shake is something like 700 calories. It doesn't even make sense. Like if you do a full-on shake, like after one of my runs, like out in the heat, 30, 40 kilometers on 30, 20, 30, not 30, 40, like 20, 30 kilometers on a mountain, on hills, right? Coming back from that, you can literally do anything, right? That just makes me miss my running day so much. But yeah. So when can we do the shake? When can we? What are the different occasions? What are the different use cases where you can do the shake? Right? IIFIM. If it first of all, that's the first thing that you got to know. What kind of like what level of the dirty shake should you be having? It just depends on what kind of day are you having, right? If it fits your if it fits your macros, right? You need to know how many macros you got to consume, how many calories you got to consume in a day. You got to have a rough idea of that. That's why tracking your food always helps. It's a great visual tool. It's a great learning tool, right? It's not a crutch. Tracking your food is not a crutch. It's a great learning tool. I'm sorry, it gives you good data. So when you track your food for a bit, when you track the kind of food that you're having, you understand what you should be eating versus what you are eating, and then you build insights around, if you have some space left within the day, what kind of how dirty can you go with the shake or cannot go. What does it depend on? It depends on whether the amount of calories that you should be having that day, whether you know the macro breakdown of those calories, and whether all of this fits in that right, the shake fits in that, or what version of the shake fits in that. Because we have made the shake adaptive. I've not just given you a recipe, I've given you a full framework of how to do the shake, right? Screenshot this quickly if you haven't. Let me go back to that. There you go, guys. This is the framework. I've not given you guys a recipe. I've given you guys a framework. You got to think about essentials, carbs, think about taste modulation, and think about those kind of days, those heavy physically demanding days. So if it fits your macros, that's when you can have the shake. Post workout is a great time, right? So what my approach with training is that if I have a meal that's for post workout, if I have a meal that's going to that is following my workout immediately. If I have a workout followed by an immediate big meal, let's say if I'm training 8:30, 8 o'clock in the night, I come back home at 9, and right after that it's dinner, right? So I probably might not have that shake for that meal because I already know I have a dinner coming up, and for dinner, I will make sure that all my macros are there. I will make sure that I have variation, and I will make sure that I'm doing the best that I can. So my nutrients are sorted. I am going to feed myself. So in that case, this protein shake or any protein shake really is not required, right? So, but let's say if I do not have a meal in the couple of hours following my training, then definitely then I have to feed myself. I would have, after a training session, I would have depleted my metabolic stores. I would have depleted all of my muscle glycogen, liver glycogen, all of those things. Right, I'm completely depleted nutrition wise. My body has taken a beating. It's inflamed from the training. Those are the acute effects of training. And if I put food in there, if my insulin levels rise, if there's glycogen being restored, I'm going to feel better. It's going to it's going to ameliorate the recovery and the growth and the positive adaptation process, that all of the things that I want to happen from training. So I need food coming in after training for sure, right? That's why post workout, if you do not have a meal following training, this shake is a great shake. Again, it's going to depend on if it fits your macros or not. Cafes question mark, because I just think we got to get this recipe out there. We got to get this framework out there, because I think different versions of this dirty shake can exist in a lot of health cafes and normal cafes in general. Just give the people what they want, give the people what they can benefit from, right? And there's a great shake that way. So at some point I would want the shake out there, right? Low energy mornings. Some mornings, you might be hungover, you might be back from a big trip, you might be waking up after a particularly physically strenuous day, lack of sleep and all of that, and you have a whole, you have a day coming up, you have a whole day that you got to face. You know, turn away from that glass of whiskey in the morning, or double shot of coffee to get you going, or whatever else, whatever kind of immediate crutch that we are relying on to fight off the definitive fatigue that's in our body. You feel a waking low. What is that? You've been fasting for a whole bunch of time because you're asleep, so you're depleted of your glycogen, right? You're depleted of your liver glycogen, you're empty in that way, you're fasted. And you've had a particularly strenuous day the last day, so you're low on energy, you're fatigued. All of those things are physically true, they are happening, right? Does it make sense to just rely on a crutch to get you in the zone mentally, but your physical body is still in that condition, right? But you're just mentally, you're not good to go. You've had that shot of whiskey, you've had that shot of double shot of coffee, you've had that, you smoked that joint, or you've done whatever you do to get you going in the morning. You've taken your pills, or whatever it is, whatever crutch it is. You had your 3 cups of sugary tea. Yeah. So instead of doing that, if we just get some food in our body, that's just a good place to start, right? Just get some food in your body. You know for a fact that you've been asleep for the last few hours, so you are going to be fasted. That's why it's called a break fast, right? It's a break fast. You're breaking your fast. So have some food. And in that case, low energy mornings, if you're on the go, if you have to, if you've got a 9:30 login time and you've woken up at 9:15, you can't really have food. You can't really feed yourself. You are really itching to rely on one of your crutches. That's when you have shakes like this, right? That's when the dirty shake comes into play. It gives you everything that you want. You're going to have your protein in there. You're going to have your carbs in there, right? And you can, depending on how much energy, right, how depending on your appetite, you could be thinking about the taste modulation and those kind of day layers, and thinking about those options, and deciding what you want to put in there, or maybe not put in there. Find the minimum viable dose, right? Do not go for the most abundant version of it. Just find the minimum viable dose. If on that particular morning, whey, milk, and maybe a fruit does it for you, and some sattu in there does it for you, that's just great, right? And if you just you're on the brink, you're struggling to get going, maybe it makes sense to put some dry fruits in there, or I don't know, yeah, right? Some good well sourced peanut butter in there. So build that shake up according to kind of the day that you're having. So that's for your low energy mornings. You can do two variations in a single day, right? Let's say you have evening football sessions, you come back home, you're depleted. Evening training sessions, come back home, you're depleted. That's when you do one of the more fatter, dirtier versions of the shake. Early in the morning, when you know that you're just you just have, you have the kind of lifestyle where you there's no breathing space in between when you wake up and when you're supposed to go to work, right? but you still want to do the best that you can. You want your essentials going in, you want some nutrition going in. So maybe let's just do like a milk plus whey protein shake along with sattu. That just, you can just shake and just go on the go. You're getting a protein, you're getting a fats, you're getting your carbs. What else do we want, right? We have the minimum viable dose. You can do two variations of it in a day like that. These, again, those variations by themselves, depending on the kind of day that you're having, and depending on the awareness that you have about your, what you should be doing regarding your food, you can, those variations by themselves can be varied, right? You can have different versions of that. It just excites me so much how much you can scale the shape up or down. Like, frameworks are just so great. Frameworks are so great. It blows my mind. It blows my mind what frameworks, knowing about frameworks allows you to do, the kind of use cases it allows you to have, the kind of wiggle room, working ability, capabilities that it allows you to have. Right? It works well as a filler snack. You're doing 3 big meals in a day, but outside of that, you're really feeling hungry. Again, you've seen that you have some space left. You could eat some more in that day. You've not really eaten as much as you want to eat. Works great as a filler snack. Any version of this shake. Again, what does it depend on? Depends on kind of the day that you're having. Sports and adventure heavy days, when you're back from that endeavor that you went out on. Now you feel really great. You've got that dopamine boost out of manual labor, out of completing something that you said you would, and it was particularly physically strenuous, right? You went to this obstacle course race, you maybe went to this football tournament, you went and did something, right? And it was physically strenuous. You come back and you build this shake up to its dirtiest level possible. Just put everything you want in there. Make it taste good. Just don't make it a blob of fluids. Just make it taste good. Make it the way that you want. Build it up. Feel good about it. Have that shake in that form. That's how you do it for sports and adventure days. So that was the whole episode on dirty shakes. Those were some nutritional advices. I'm going to watch this episode back and take note of actually what I ended up talking about, things that were actually useful. But that was episode 10. I've already started working on episode 11. It's going to be a good, great episode. In that I talk about how my training style and my kind of my learning process has evolved over the years, right? I was just being reflective. I was just reflecting back on that, and I realized it's something to talk about. It's something to talk. Definitely, it's something to talk about, right? And it goes well with the theme of our episodes in PE period. So, guys, this episode is going to be up on Spotify. I'm almost 90% sure of that. If nothing, no other technical nags or something like that happen along the way, I think I've figured out how to get back on Spotify. So we can now call ourselves a podcast again, not just like a YouTube series. So we are a podcast, and you can listen to this on Spotify from now on. Hopefully the next episodes will be up on Spotify as well. Keep listening, keep interacting. Interactions always help. And let me know how I can make these episodes better for you. The you know I was able to solve the problem of, I just, like, I was doing a few episodes on Spotify, and then suddenly I couldn't. My computer just wouldn't allow me, and I was how limited by my technical knowledge base. But what made it possible to get back on Spotify was an interaction with a guy that listens to these episodes, who gave me the solution to how I could solve this problem. How I have good content on here, how they really like my content, and they would have loved it better if it was an easy to listen podcast. And that's how I was able to do that. So these interactions always help. I'm not saying give me constructive criticism, right? I'm not saying just bash me in comments or bash me through, just tell me whatever, like unload on me like that. But not saying any of those things, because how I take what anyone says to me just completely depends on how I perceive things. So that's up to me. But your feedback, your interaction with you guys is always welcome. It's only going to help us grow, right? If you guys like this content, if you guys like what we are talking about, but you would like to see it in a better format, it would be palatable, in a different way. It would be more palatable to you, more appealing to you in a different way. Then let me know, right? Interact with me. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want to talk about. My inbox is always open. g.onimesh@gmail.com. I'm going to link it in the description. You can also, I'm like a small time professional right now. So you can just as well reach out to me on my social media. That works as well for me. And that's it. That was Dirty Shakes, episode 10. We've done 10 episodes. I'm really proud of that. See you guys for the 11th one. Enjoy this series on Spotify now as well, I guess. 90% sure of that.